So first of all, I was born at night, not last night. This whole Bafta situation is baffling to me for a variety of reasons. Now, I know some of you might be clicking on this video and asking yourself, who the hell is Bafta? Exactly.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Bafta, who, by the way, is doing his 79th, or just did his 79th annual show. Bafta, which stands for the British Academy Film Awards, to where it showcases and gives awards to films and TV, whatever. So Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, who were the first to present an award that night. And it just so happens that there's a man by the name of John Davison who is promoting a film about Tourette's and Tourette's syndrome and about tics and the trials and tribulations that people with that disability go through. John Davison just so happened to be sitting in the crowd this night as BAFTA is promoting that movie. And Michael Jordan, that's still hilarious for me. Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were presenting an award, and while they were presenting an award, John Davison screamed the N-word at them. There's been a whole discussion online about Tourette's, and people with Tourette's have certain tics that they say the wrong things at the worst appropriate times, to where they don't mean what they say. They just so happen to say certain things that are vicious and vile. But again, it's not their fault. It's some type of thing in their brain. And I'm not here to be a Tourette's expert. I'm not even here to really talk about John Davison. John Davison, who said a few things. He yelled the N-word at Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, as well as another person that was part of the Sinners cast. Then also yelled some inappropriate things to someone who was part of the LGBTQ plus community. Again, I'm not even here to talk about John Davison. He did give a apology, which I wasn't too happy about, because none of his apology actually was directly naming both Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo and other people that he offended. Again, it's not his fault, but he still offended a lot of people because of the tic that he has, that for some reason in his brain, he just, he screams certain things that he just doesn't have control of. And it's very unfortunate. It's very unfair that he was dealt that hand in life, but he's got beat up. The stories, he's getting beat up a lot of times because of that, and had to deal with certain things, and I have empathy in regards to that. But the way BAFTA has dealt with this let me know a few different things. One, as always, they don't care about black life. They don't care about the black experience. They don't care about how black folks feel about the situation, because they could have easily not aired the slurs that were said in the 2-hour delayed broadcast. The people that edited the video to eventually go out to the world, they easily could have edited out the slurs that were shouted out by John Davison throughout the night, and they decided not to. They decided to bleep out when some presenter said "Free Palestine." They all of a sudden the bleep button works then, but when someone is being yelled at with the N-word and different things that are very offensive, they decided, it's not that big of a deal. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. And now this is in Europe. This is not even America. It just lets you know what the trials and tribulations that black folk gotta go through all across the world. We're not trying to make ourselves victims, but it just lets you know, for whatever reason, We are always public enemy number one. We're the least protected, the least cared for, and we're always out to be made the villains. It's somehow. So when the story gets out about, and the clip starts going viral about Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo being on stage, and you can literally see them while John Davidson yells the N-word at them. You can see them in real time try to figure out, okay, how do we remain professional? We don't know what's happening. Let's just try to push through, right? Because it's on them to have to push through. It's on them to be professional, even though they're the ones that are being disrespected. Because that's what it is to be black anywhere, not just in America, but anywhere. It's on us to try to be professional and have dignity in that moment. And the problem is BAFTA knew John Davidson was there. They knew they were going to promote his movie. They knew he was at front row. They knew all these things, yet they didn't warn the presenters. They didn't warn the people that were sitting around John Davidson, and they didn't warn the crowd. So it could have went left really, really quick.
I'm mad, man.
I'm not promoting doing anything to John Davidson, but there might have been people around there that did not know John Davidson had an ailment, and it could have easily turned out to be the Oscars back in 2022 when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock for disrespecting his wife. That could have happened. A variety of things could have happened. Thankfully it didn't, but it's on BAFTA. Whoever in charge of production is on them. It's their job to be professional and warn the presenters, hey, we have a guy here, we're promoting Tourette syndrome and the harms and the try to give knowledge to that syndrome and what it means and how people navigate that. Just want to let you know, potentially, we do not know, but potentially there's someone in the crowd that might say some things that are not going to be too favorable. It's not malicious. It's just that's something that happens with Tourette's syndrome. Just want to let you know, if you feel comfortable enough to still present the award, you definitely have that power to do so. But I just have to let you know, there is a guy in the crowd that might say some things to you, scream some things to you, or say some things to you that are not going to be too nice. Just want to let you know. Now, me, off rip, that sounds like a great Boondocks Chappelle show skit. Part of me, still a small part of me, is like this was all planned. Still a small part of me feels like this was planned, because this feels and sounds like a Boondocks skit. Like, so you mean to tell so you mean to tell me it just so happens when Sinners is allegedly going to have one of the biggest award seasons that any movie has had. It's probably going to win big at the Oscars, maybe, because one battle after another. They really want to make that important, even though it's nowhere near as good as Sinners. But I can do a whole breakdown of why, whatever. Anyway, it just so happens that when black folk get onto the stage, he can't help but say the N-word to him. Like, I'm sorry, that is so hilarious to be like, okay, like what I'm supposed to do with that? Like, what am I supposed to do? So it really sucks, because John Davidson, the person again that with Tourette's that was promoting this movie about people with Tourette's, he's in a lose-lose, because we don't want to be ableist and tell John Davidson he can't show up, he can't be there. We don't want to do that, but at the same time, black folk and queer folk, or whatever the racial slurs or whatever slurs that are said, they shouldn't have to deal with that either. Like, we shouldn't be playing Russian roulette with people on stage, and we're potentially getting things yelled at them. Like, also, it's not fair to them or fair to even the people around John Davidson or the crowd that might get offended. It's not fair to them, right? So the least you can do is warn everyone in the building and have a production crew that cares enough to bleep out the N-word and whatever other slurs John Davidson said throughout the night. But this is one of the most least cared for incidents I can think of from a production that was warned by Warner Brothers, who are the people that did Sinners, the film, with Ryan Coogler. They warned them that we heard that this happened at the show. Please bleep that out. And Bafta said, F y'all. Like, we don't give a fuck about y'all.
What did you...
Wait a minute. I'm white.
Where you going? Don't you ignore me.
They don't really care about us. All I want to tell you is that they don't really care. It's just insane to me. Again, I'm not here to promote any negativity toward John Davidson. I still feel a way about his apology, that he did not point out the specific people that he offended. Again, it's very unfair. You were given a bad hand, but you still offended them. It's like if you get in a car accident. You don't mean, nobody goes out on the road meaning to have a car accident. But if you cause a car accident, you have to pay. Not only do you have to pay financially, but I would think you would be very apologetic to the person that you rear-ended or you hit. You have to be, even though you didn't go out your way to do it, for whatever reason, you had an accident, you got to pay for it. And so for John Davidson not to specifically apologize for the people, especially Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, I really feel a way about. But even more specifically, Bafta, to not show any type of empathy or sympathy for them as well, not even really mention them and just say it was a very unfortunate situation. Again, lets you know how they really feel and why they felt no need to bleep out the N-word that was being yelled at people on stage. They didn't think it was a big deal because when it comes to black folk, we're not considered someone that needs to be protected. We are animals and we are all these different things, right? You literally just had at the State of the Union address a guy have a sign up saying that black people are not apes, and he got thrown out the State of the Union address, and people yelling USA. Yeah, we're still in 2026, the big year 2026, still dealing with a lot of things when it comes to racism and prejudice. So again, I'm not here to be ableist. I'm not here to say that John Davidson should not be there. I don't know what the correct answer is. I feel like he should be punished and should be able to go there. He should not be punished for his ailment. At the same time, I don't feel like we should be playing Russian roulette with people in the building that has to hear that. So I really don't know what the correct answer is. But I just think how the situation afterwards was handled was completely unprofessional. Again, it showed you how the world, not just America, how the world in Europe, in the Baptists, how these institutions, how these institutions really feel about us, how they feel about minorities, how they really feel. They did not act like they were empathetic at all. The fact that it was a 2-hour delay, you could have easily edited out. You were warned about editing out those slurs, and somewhere in your brain you said, nah, not a big deal. Because I think they wanted the press they're getting right now. Again, let me remind you, this is their 79th annual show. Nobody in America has ever talked about that show, ever. And had that show went on without the controversy, nobody would have been talking about this show. So what that shows me is this was intentional. And that they were hoping John Davidson, again, this is my assumption. This is going all off of my assumption. They were hoping John Davidson did something so that they could get some press off this. That is my assumption. That's the only way I can view it. Because y'all have not showed any type of empathy towards what happened. And two, again, Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and everyone else involved. You have not showed any empathy whatsoever. Have not. So that just shows me y'all were hoping this happened. So now you get to do a trifecta of things. You get to promote the movie about Tourette's, which is why John Davidson was there. You now get to promote your own award show across just not the Europe, but across the world, and especially the United States. You get to do that, and you get to harm black folk and rage bait them. which you all know when this got out that black people were not going to be too happy and they were going to say things. And so now you get to rage bait them because we're an easy target. It was a trifecta of things. When I first heard this, I'm like, yo, that is hilarious. Like, it sounds like a Chappelle skit. And then to know it's real, and then to see the aftermath of how it was carried out by Bafta itself, and how people are talking online, like only black folk, you can tell black folk how to feel about how they're being oppressed. Because that has been just the day one, just the age of time. Only us, we're told. Need I remind you, Kyrie Irving, one of the biggest basketball players in the world, a world champion. Kyrie Irving, back in late 2022, posted a link, no captions, no words, posted a link to a movie or a book that was deemed anti-Semitic and literally had the entire media across not only sports, but in the real world telling us how anti-Semitic Kyrie was and how apologetic he needed to be for him posting a link to a movie. Meanwhile, you can yell the N-word to someone and it just be whatever. We know who's protected or not. Let John Davidson yell some anti-Semitic slurs. Let's see how long he would have stayed in that building before he decided to leave on his own fruition. He wasn't escorted out. He decided to leave. Let's see how that would have worked out for him. Let's have some black folk have some Tourette's of our own. Let that been someone with black with Tourette's and we said some things. Let's see how that would have worked out for us. I bet you would have heard a peep. I bet you would have heard a peep. But we already know how that is, man. We already know what it is, how it is, like, whatever. So, it's just, I'm sorry. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's just like, bruh. Like, dog, it is 2026. How are we still going through this, bruh? Like, hot damn, son. I had to talk about it. It's just so stupid, man. These freaking institutions. Again, my biggest takeaway is, if you are black, if you're a minority, stop going to these institutions. Stop going to these shows, man. They don't care about you. Like, it's so stupid, dog. Yo, oh my God. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think people are overreacting, underreacting online? What's your thoughts on the situation? Again, I'm just like, it's so stupid, man. Like, all Bafta had to do was just warn everyone involved about what was happening, and then at least bleep out the slurs, and then actually have an apology. But they're not apologetic for what happened because they don't care. Because all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. That's all it is, man.
Welcome to the night. Stay up all night. Did you tell me this was over?